Supply chains are not boring. They're actually everything. In this episode, we sit down with Kadeya's lead institutional investors from our most recent equity round of financing, Refashiond Ventures. Co-founders and managing general partners Brian Laung Aoaeh and Lisa Morales-Hellebo unpack what it means to build the future of industrial transformation, from digitization and decentralization to data moats and microfactories. Brian and Lisa share why Kadeya fits into their thesis and why supply chain innovation is a $1 trillion opportunity hiding in plain sight. Brian, Lisa, welcome to Unbottled.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for investing. Thanks for believing. Thanks for pushing us to think bigger.
We are obsessively enthusiastic investors, so.
I know. I've heard of people like you. I hadn't met them until I met you guys. So to kick things off, can you each tell me what is your favorite go-to packaged beverage of choice right now? No judgment.
I am a water and coffee person. Maybe once in a while, some orange juice or something. So if I had to pick a packaged beverage, some sort of coffee, but I don't have a favorite brand, so don't ask me.
What was the drink you had at Kadeya?
Oh,
What was that one? That was
it was the blood orange thing.
Yeah.
Yes, from Tractor.
Well, yes. If there is a Kadeya vending factory, micro factory nearby, it's going to be the blood orange.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think you had like 3.
I stopped counting. I stopped.
He was well hydrated.
I stopped counting.
So much like Brian, I'm also a water and coffee kind of person. But Kadeya for me is perfect because my family drinks this thing called soft. It's a Norwegian, like slightly flavored water. So the closest thing, my favorite existing bottled beverage before Kadeya is hint. Just a hint of flavor and water. Amazing.
Yeah, well, maybe one day we'll start carrying hint. We'll be
Hint, Kara.
Yeah. Just shouting out to you if you know Kara. Send her this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you both have such unique origin stories, from Puerto Rico and Ghana to Brian being a reggae DJ at Connecticut College at your radio station, and Lisa, you designing at Herman Miller, to building the largest global supply chain meetup. So where did your journeys begin, and how did that shape your view of the world? And Brian, since I've known you the longest, 10 years, we think, based on
10
LinkedIn.
years or more. Yeah.
We'd love to start with you.
It starts in a village in northern Ghana. And in fact, when I think of where I come from and where I am now, it's a very improbable journey. But starts in a village in northern Ghana. I think for me, the defining part of my journey was growing up with my grandfather and my relatives in the village while I went to boarding school. And then I came to the US to study. I studied math and physics. And the thing that has struck me is that when you think about the welfare of societies, the real difference in my mind is that in societies where societal welfare is great, so to speak, supply chains function relatively well. Yes, people have complaints about things, but generally supply chains. And then where life is difficult, supply chains are primitive. And so I think when in 2015 or 2014 or so, I was looking into logistics, I think that's what has propelled me. And I don't know if I answered your question, but
Well, I'd be curious what inspired you to want to study in the US?
So around 2014 or 2015, someone introduced me to a trucking software startup.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about trucking or logistics. And so like with everything, I decided to teach myself. And the more I taught myself about it, the larger the opportunity seemed. And then I met Lisa, and she was looking into supply chains in fashion and apparel. And we had a debate. And I thought a supply chain was logistics. And she was like, no, Brian, it's more than that. And we argued and whatnot. And then the scales
I don't remember
fell off
any
my
argument.
eyes.
I remember just laying out, no, you're wrong. There's this convergence happening. And supply chains are no longer separate siloed systems. They're all becoming blended and consumer facing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're core to any successful business.
Yep.
So you can no longer look at them as siloed entities or look at technologies as siloed technologies. They all have to work within a larger system.
Yeah. And the first time you guys met, I think you've each told me, was like, you guys hung out.
It was June 6th, 2016. We met at the Le Pen Quotidien in the Flatiron building.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that area.
And just hit it off.
Well, I realized that he was instantly my brother from another mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so rare to find somebody that cares about the things you care about when they're so specialized and weird, like supply chains.
Mm-hmm.
And then our backgrounds. He comes from Ghana and Nigeria and has family members living below $1 a day. I come from family that's in Puerto Rico, pig farmers and seamstresses, also living below the poverty line. And what we both connected, I think, most deeply on is that innovation and technology has served the top 1%, and it's created vast wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a massive opportunity with the refashioning of global industrial value chains to use technology as an innovation catalyst for a massive redistribution of global wealth and sustainable local economies, and serving the bottom-up value creators that are generally also brown people that are like us and related to us in amazing places around the world.
And we're not proposing that anyone who's doing well not continue to do well.
Sure.
We're just saying, let's create systems that ensure that the people at the bottom of the pyramid are doing much, much better than they currently do.
Which ultimately is better for everyone, because if you focus only on the top 1%, supply chains don't work that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Manufacturing alone, speaking of microfactories, the reason I became obsessed with distributed infrastructure was after building the New York Fashion Tech Lab in 2014, studying the apparel supply chain. I wanted to understand what the future of our value chains could look like to actually build a better mousetrap, bottom up, to be better for people, planet, and profits.
Mm-hmm.
And it all starts with localization
100%.
and constraints.
Yep.
And understanding how those aren't barriers, those are opportunities.
Absolutely.
And every region will have their own constraints that create them ideal environments for different types of innovations and technologies. And we just need to enable that.
Absolutely, right? It's imagine we've created so much wealth in the world only serving that top 1% or decile. What would happen if you were able to address the broader populace, right, of the world? And it's a rising tide will lift all boats.
All boats. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's so much in both of your stories, so I'm sure it'll keep, integrating into the conversation. You've brought up supply chains, and you've said that they are an economic multiplier, and you say the world is a supply chain. So what does that mean?
So and this goes back to the first conversation I had with Lisa. Traditionally, when you think of supply chains, different people will think about different things. So if you're in trucking, then to you, supply chains are about trucking.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in maritime shipping, then supply chains are about that. If you're in warehousing and distribution, if you're in an industry, then to you, supply chains are just about your industry. But after you've studied all that, and then you pause and take a step back, what one should realize is that really supply chains are these complex, evolving, dynamic systems that enable production and consumption. That's the economy.
Yeah.
That's the economy. Supply chains are the foundation on which the economy is built. And so when we say that supply chains are an economic multiplier, that's what we're hinting at. When we say the world is a supply chain, it's basically that the world we live in would not exist if we did not have this foundation of systems.
So I'll give a perfect summary of why Brian and I are yin and yang. He says a lot of words, and then I come along and kill those words and make them really concise and punchy, like sound bites. So butterfly effect. Everyone understands that, a butterfly flaps its wings in one side of the world and it could create a tsunami over here. Not quite literally that, but our choices impact everything.
Yeah.
And so businesses every day are making choices either by commission or omission of consciously making these choices. And systems are not like the weather. They don't happen to us. They're designed.
They're designed.
Yes.
So we should be consciously designing them for the outcomes we need.
100%. As Brian, you were talking, I'm looking around this podcast studio and every single object here came via us. I mean, for sure was not manufactured here in New York City, in Manhattan. Maybe once, 100 years ago. Maybe like the material of the chair would have been in our clothes. But I mean, these mics and the table. And to your point, Lisa, about this idea of a butterfly effect, right? With Kadeya, I went in and I said, oh my God, I just keep seeing all these annoying single-use bottles, right? Like I'm looking at your bottles, which it's what we had. It's what we had. I'm not, I don't judge, I don't blame, but actually having that is a great example. Like how did that bottle of water, that 20 fluid ounces, end up on the table in front of you, Lisa, and in front of you, Brian, right? It was designed and it went through so many steps. And I think for me, coming from the sustainability perspective, starting to realize that every single object has a whole
history and background story, and there's this complex value chain that makes it possible.
Exactly. And then it forces you to start understanding that value chain. And that's, I think, where then the innovation potential
and when you
shows
truly
up.
understand value chains, you could look at them and say, is that the best way to do that? Like when I first encountered Kadeya, for me, I immediately said, oh, it's a microfactory.
Yeah, I remember you said, I was like, oh.
Disintermediating all of the logistics of packaging and shipping water all around the world.
Which, by the way, there's a water line outside the door.
If you look at the constraints of every local region where there are consumers, there is existing water. So why don't we tap into that? That is freaking genius.
Thank you. And then eliminate the plastic along the way. So you both launched Refashiond Ventures in 2019 to back the future of supply chains.
2021.
2021.
Well, our first investment. We did a rolling.
So we started,
in
we had as a concept, the thesis pretty much when we first met. Then I left my old firm, KC Ventures, in September 2018. And we immediately said, we're going to build this firm. Let's get going. Made no
My
headway.
maniacal plan from day one is, Brian, you're going to be my partner. I incepted that.
Made no headway till the pandemic because at that point, no one cared about supply chains. They told us things like, that's the dumbest investment thesis ever. And then the pandemic hits, but of course there's a pandemic, so everyone is freaked out. 2021, July 1 is when we got going.
Wow.
And in order to get going at the end of 2020, we had to decide, okay, we'll abandon a traditional fund first, and we'll do a rolling fund to as our MVP.
I've 30 years in tech as an operator, a builder, a creator, and so I was antsy. I don't like sitting around waiting for somebody to recognize I'm awesome. I'm like, we have this huge community. The rolling fund allows us to publicly solicit. Let's do that because momentum creates momentum and we can immediately start deploying checks. No brainer.
And you guys have made how many investments?
80 investments, 71 different startups.
Yes.
Awesome. Amazing. I mean, I've known about you guys for a while, and we were joking previously. I submitted 2022, you said?
2022.
And you guys passed.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it at the time.
I mean, I guess my storytelling got better, and now it's gotten even better.
Like Denise said in episode 2, I think, your storytelling has gotten a lot better.
Well, that is one of the things that I think that Refashion has an unfair advantage on helping our portfolio. Because I have a design degree from Carnegie Mellon.
Every time I see one of the decks and narratives that you've been involved in, I'm like, wow.
It made me so proud to see you working and presenting that deck when we were in St. Pete's.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. The phrase of the microfactory, that's all thanks to Lisa. So would you say that COVID hitting was sort of that inflection point in the market starting to understand, or at least you realizing that
For
that was
me,
the opportunity?
absolutely. It was everyone started to realize, where's my toilet paper?
Right.
Or
Where did it come from?
yeah.
Oh,
Why? How
on
is
a
it
boat?
so hard to get toilet paper on the shelves? It's
Right.
the moment that everyone realized that supply chains are actually oxygen.
Yeah.
You do not notice them until something's going horribly wrong.
Wrong.
Right.
Like I can't breathe.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's this thing that's happening in the background every single day. But when you're the consumer, I mean, it's been designed to make it super seamless and convenient for you. So you don't even realize that all that's happening, which is why I think for Kadeya finding Refashiond or reconnecting with Refashiond was so lucky, because other investors who don't understand supply chains just think, wait, that water bottle didn't just
It didn't
pop out of
just
the
fall. It didn't
refrigerator?
just fall from the sky.
Wait, it's not a water bottle tree?
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because it wasn't until COVID that it dawned on me that there are a lot of people who don't realize that the chicken that they eat every day does not come from the grocery store.
Yeah.
People think
Right.
that chocolate
or
milk
it doesn't
comes
come
brown
from the
cows.
fridge.
Right.
Right. Or that
Wait,
it's
chicken is chicken?
it's like
It doesn't come in nugget shape.
no. It's something else entirely.
Yeah, which is the mastery, I guess, of the supply chains that were created.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
On the one hand, modern supply chains are so efficient and work so well. On the other hand,
Yes.
for that reason, everyone takes for granted that everything is just snap your fingers and,
Well, the Amazon effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the first world has foobarred our planet for everyone else
100%.
because of our need for instant
Convenience.
gratification, convenience, nowness, like drop ship it directly
Variety.
to my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. I want my, like,
That's going to be a meme, me going that.
I love it. Alex. Going on Instagram.
That has to make it into the video. That has to make it into the video.
Wait, should we all three do it?
Drop ship it directly to my mouth. Okay. No, it went from
start a movement.
It went from next day or 2 day to next day to 2 hour to 15 minutes.
And now
I have a great, I'll put it on the podcast show notes. There's this old cartoon. I forget the name. It's like, it's a tech cartoon, and it's like XYZ something. It's a bunch of like random letters. Once I send it, you'll know it. And it shows how Amazon's water delivery should just be called a hyperloop of tap water.
Tap water.
Like you can get a bottle of water a pallet of bottles of water in an hour. I'm like, why don't we just bottle it at the site?
Yeah.
You don't have to wait.
All right, it's tapping into the existing local constraints of ubiquitous access to water. And then the cleansing, the sanitation of the vehicle, the vessel that you created is, oh my God, genius. And then tapping into the insight that you yourself admitted you didn't really stumble across until you started doing the thing as a founder.
Yeah.
And the market told you, duh, it's workforce.
It's workforce.
It's where people have to be hydrated.
Yes.
You have the built-in incentive to return the flask.
Yeah.
And it gets sanitized and reused right there at the workplace. So why? I literally took a photo that I don't know if we can splice into this. As I was driving into the city
love
today.
This. I have my entire photo roll is
yes, it's a sad pallet of bottled water on the street in New York City. Just sitting there all somebody
with
come
microplastics slowly leaching into the product. All right, so we've gotten to talk a lot about Refashiond, but what is the investment thesis, and what do you mean by industrial transformation? We always hear these big words thrown around.
Me?
Yeah.
So basically what we believe is, because of geopolitics, the climate crisis, and demographic change, the world we live in is undergoing massive change. And there are different futurists who talk about it from their own perspective. And so we think a lot of the way the world works is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
How exactly, I hesitate to predict, but that change is going to happen. And so the goal of the fund is to invest in individuals who are solving the problems that will lead to that change. And I think it was in October 2019, we published a blog post which we titled "The World is a Supply Chain." And basically it was a response to all the people we'd been talking to who said, well, we don't understand your thesis. It doesn't make sense. Explain it to us.
What's his dumb name? Refashioned.
Yeah. And it was basically what we were seeing was there were people like you, some academics, engineers with great ideas. They've noticed a problem that they think needs to be solved, but they're having a difficult time finding capital to back them. And so we said, we'll raise a fund, we'll be pre-seed and seed. We'll back people doing those things at the earliest stages of the journey where it's possible. And that's the idea. So refashioned in the sense of reinvent, transform, redesign, remake, that sort of thing. And I think now people get it. Back in 2018 and 2019, nobody liked
No,
the
but it
name.
was really, truly one of our LPs, Albert Wenger. We were at his house and he said, refashioned, I like the name, but it needs something to help qualify it for people to understand in context.
Yes.
And he gave us the Industrial Transformation Fund. And now it makes sense.
It makes complete sense, yeah.
You're refashioning the entire paradigm of how the world produces, consumes, and reuses everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then one question that might be, but how does that tie to supply chains?
Okay.
It's probably a question.
In my mind, I jumped to it.
Yeah. And our argument is you really can't transform an industry without first transforming the supply chains on which the industry runs. So to us, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. And in the Midwest, for example, last summer there was the Reindustrialize conference in Detroit.
Yep.
And what I keep hearing, exactly what you were saying, right? The supply chains are so efficient. New technologies that are coming out are looking to make a 1% improvement, a 2% improvement, right?
Yeah.
They're looking to shave off, round some edges. And the opportunity then with, whether you call it like edge manufacturing, decentralized industrialization, proximity, is that you can actually and now that's also thanks to automation, robotics, AI, you can actually rethink
the entire
factory, right? The supply chains we've gotten to know today, in the beverage industry, for example, you'd have a 1 million square foot bottling plant, 2,000 workers, 500 trucks driving around 24/7. Those trucks, those employees, the plastic production that goes into those factories is entirely based on the idea that you could only get economies of scale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a 1950s model.
That's a 1950s, It's an old model.
When I started talking about localization and distributed collaborative microfactories in 2015, 2016, and spent a year doing research of the current localized value chains here in the U.S., people looked at me like I was cray-cray. Like, wait, but what does volume look like?
Right.
That'll never be cost competitive.
So just to be clear, I still think Lisa's crazy.
And I'm fine with that. So I am fine with that. Yeah.
She still loves working with you.
Yes.
Those are the best relationships,
absolutely.
I think.
I mean, I don't need to be sane if sanity means doing boring things that are incremental.
Yeah.
My entire career, I see myself as a creative.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been voted the most creative. I studied design at Carnegie Mellon. To me, being able to decide what companies should exist in this world is one of the most creative things you can do.
Yeah.
And as soon as I knew more, I wanted to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I have to be on that side because then I could really play with the most amazing resources and tools. And I see our portfolio and all of our founders as my toolkit to be able to refashion the world.
Yeah, incredible. I love that perspective of a venture firm. What trends or technologies are you tracking closely that you think others are sleeping on today?
I don't know if I want to share our secrets.
Um, I tend to rely on founders to point me in the right direction. So back when I was at KEC, I used to do a lot of office hours. I think every Friday I had completely open, and I would be at some different location and people could come in. I had people coming from Europe, people coming
Wow.
from Boston. They skipped class at HBS. And what I would do is listen closely. And if, let's say 3 Fridays in a row, different people came in and talked about a similar idea, it would lead me towards. And I've just found that to be a better way for me personally to decide where I should pay attention, because there's just one of me and there's, thousands of founders, millions of them looking for problems to solve. And so that's how I've tended to approach it.
For me, I love living in factories. I'm a maker. I had to sew my own clothes growing up. My family's seamstresses here in the Bronx. I just love how things are made. So the more I can actually live in the primordial soup of industrial transformation where infrastructure is being reborn today, the more it sparks new ideas that I then get validated when I see a company come my way. And I see more and more. And then I'll get excited when I'm like, that's the team to execute against that thing that I'm already interested in. And we can own that space.
Yeah.
And speaking of Kadeya, coming back to Kadeya, and I think I mentioned this in the memo. At KEC, I worked on a company that was combining 3 things into a hardware device. And so I got to see just how difficult the engineering is, even when you're not inventing the different components from scratch, but trying to put them into one thing. And so I think if you remember when you showed us the micro factory in Chicago, my first comment was, "Oh my God, how did you pull this? How did you pull this off?" And then the second was, I think in 2022, a founder in Kenya pitched us about a device that would dispense cooking oil. And people would bring their own containers. And it was because the companies that sold, they were looking for a way to get rid of single-use packaging. And so between those 2 things, when you then updated us on where things were, I was like, oh, this is those 2 ideas coming together for a different market, of course. And so then when Lisa had the idea about refashioning the value chains for liquid consumables.
Yeah, because that puts it takes it from just where you happen to be starting to a much larger market. I was listening to the prosperity paradox on the way into the city today, and there are 3 types of companies. There's sustainment, which is helping to retain a market and customer base. There's efficiency, obviously shaving off incremental value and unlocking capital. And then there's market definers or market creators. And I think the initial go-to-market for Kadeya is initially sustainment and efficiency for the brands, the beverage companies. But when you get market penetration, you are becoming a whole new market. You're a market creator. And it's way beyond just beverages. It is anything that is consumed, CPG, that has liquid as the foundation. Or water more specifically. There's shampoos, there's laundry detergents, there's home cleaners. There's so many products that could be a Kadeya microfactory. It's huge.
Thank you. Yeah, for pushing us to that. In part, also, you as a founder feel like you're already selling some smoke and mirrors. Like you have a vision, but it's not yet real.
It's not yet real.
So having the confidence or the permission to make that an even bigger set of smoke and mirrors was great to be able to hear you say, like, we get what you're doing. Let's actually think about how this more broadly even
Yeah.
impacts
Yeah.
the economy.
Yeah. And when I've worked with founders in the past, I've tried to, I think the challenge in talking to investors and even to anyone is painting that big, very, very scary, very speculative vision.
Yep.
But then being able to tie it back very concretely to what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And I think that's always the challenge, you know. So some will say, well, how does what the company is doing now? Well, right now, what the company is doing is focused on this very narrow, very small slice
Yep.
of that ultimate goal. But if we succeed in doing this, here is how it leads us.
Yeah.
Where we want to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My husband, Andy, one of his advisors and professors at Stanford Business School, has talked about that he would rather bet on a smaller wedge than a bigger wedge.
Than a bigger wedge, yeah.
And be able then to understand, of course, the TAM
Yeah,
ultimately.
yeah.
But like the smaller wedge gives you such greater likelihood of success.
Yeah.
In those early days,
Yeah.
where resources are, they're always constrained to some degree, but really constrained.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of investors get tripped up or trip themselves up, that they're so focused on, oh my God, but today this is so small.
Yep.
That they lose sight of what it could become if it's successful.
And a lot of most investors don't understand the logistics of a bottled beverage.
Yeah.
And so just looking at it at the surface, saying, oh, it's a vending machine and Kadeya is a new type of vending machine, is so limiting. You don't understand the massive impact of logistics that Kadeya alleviates for businesses and workforce, or anywhere that needs to have workplace hydration. It's massive, like that pallet of sad packaged water. You are not only receiving these massive pallets of hydration vehicles.
Yeah.
You also have to deal with the waste.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows the image of the garbage can that's overflowing and has a tower Jenga of plastic containers that people are trying to put into their recycling.
Right. And doing the recycling choreography, as you put it.
And this also touches on a point that I think you and Denis discussed a little bit, which is, the group of investors who are focused on climate or impact or sustainability. And from the get-go, they're like, well, what KPIs? And I got so annoyed about this that I actually wrote a blog post.
Recently?
Not recently, some years ago.
Okay.
But when we were pitching the fund, we would pitch, some climate-focused LPs, and then they'd be like, well, what And I was like, at pre-seed and seed, the KPIs should not be the focus. Yeah. I think philosophically and ideologically, we should understand that if Kadeya succeeds, we expect there will be reduction in use of single-use plastic containers. There'll probably be some reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera, et cetera. But should the focus today be on measuring precisely what then the company is going to die before it even succeeds.
100%.
And so our
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I was just going to add that just like Standard Oil dominated because they understood that she who controls the infrastructure owns the market.
Yep.
When you're building an entirely new category like Kadeya, it's critical to own that infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to actually hear you, Brian, finish your comment. I don't know if you.
No, I was just going to keep ranting against the investors who want KPIs.
And the other thing that pisses me off.
I've lived it as
Lisa
well.
has seen me when I get upset about something.
Absolutely, and also this myopic focus just on greenhouse gas footprint.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Which or
carbon credits, please.
Yeah, Kadeya does alleviate that, but climate problems are so multifaceted.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's
more than just one thing.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of different, yeah.
So actually, Lisa, you just started teeing up this idea of like platform strategy and endpoint infrastructure models. It would be great to talk a little bit. And you mentioned Standard Oil. I've been listening to the Acquired podcast. They just did one on Coca-Cola. It's a 4-hour episode.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of things I didn't know and learned. But I mean, what is Coca-Cola? What is Pepsi? Why is that beverage in your hands? It's because of the distribution that it built.
Yep.
But that's not forever.
No.
Right?
I think that just like we're seeing in a lot of industries, the one that I went deep on before I met Brian was fashion and apparel. There is a shift in brands seeing their infrastructure as secret and a competitive moat,
Right.
to the brand needing to become a moat.
Mm-hmm.
Like the vehicles for distribution are shared across everyone. Your competitors are using the same infrastructure.
100%. Dr. Pepper is the most broadly available soda fountain drink in the U.S. because they just piggyback on the Coke and Pepsi soda fountains.
Yeah.
And so with the creator economy and like with fashion brands are being disintermediated if they don't really understand their value is their brand and how the space you occupy and own within your consumer's day-to-day life and the trust that you have built and elicit with that customer. And if you're just playing a price point game,
100%.
the race to the bottom, nobody's going to win. And all these creators in apparel are popping up their own fashion lines. And we're seeing companies like Shein that just quickly can knock it off. It's always going to be hands down. If you partner with the best logistics and infrastructure and are agile and responsive to your consumer, you will win. But you need to have something that they actually want. And right now, the most valuable thing is a real brand. So Coca-Cola is a brand.
Yeah.
And that is why they don't sell Coke.
They
sell happiness. I mean, Coke was a customer of mine when I had an agency years ago. We were the smallest agency of record for Coca-Cola.
Whoa.
And we had the highest click-through and converting emails and banner ads, and I redesigned the world of Coke e-commerce store. They sell happiness.
Yep.
They're the happiness factory.
Yeah.
What
and who doesn't want happiness?
Who doesn't want happiness? Yeah.
Yeah. So why should someone consider investing in Kadeya on our WeFunder that we are now running a crowdfunding on?
I think it's the same reason we decided to build Refashiond, which is that the sorts of startups and the sorts of founders that are going to define the future. And I don't think it is insane for me to say that we will be alive as the future starts to unfold.
Yes.
One that's very different from what we've been accustomed to. There's a futurist called Peter Layden, and he's publishing a book called The Long Progression, which I think touches on how things are going to change. It's going to be slow at first, and then it's going to be dramatic as a lot of these changes. And so I think for individuals who believe in this idea that the world is changing and we all have some sort of a role to play, I think either investing directly in a company that speaks to that ethos through WeFunder, for example, is one way to do it. Or they can back a fund.
Yeah.
Right. If they have the wherewithal, the financial wherewithal, then they can back a fund whose thesis fits into that. And that's actually something we talk about in The World is a Supply Chain, the blog I was talking about, which we turned into a booklet. So we talk about what individuals can do, what governments can do, what companies can do, and that sort of thing.
I think they should invest because consumer buying power moves markets.
Moves markets.
Changes economies, changes political power constructs. And if you want a better world, this is your opportunity to actually put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a very proud moment this morning. I was on the phone coming from LaGuardia Airport, pitching an investor who's going to come in on the WeFunder.
That's amazing.
And I finish the call, get out of the taxi. The cab driver comes around and says, "Can I have your business card?" And I said, "Of course." And I gave it to him and he said, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think you're really smart. I love your strategy.
Oh my
and I
goodness.
said, go, here's the website.
Yeah.
We fund our open,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to be accredited,
Yeah.
$100. And he
Yeah.
said, oh, absolutely. And then I said, well, what's your name? And he told me, where are you from? I'm from Haiti. I've been here for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, oh my God, you get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait till Kadeya can scale to go initially to island nations. I mean,
Yeah.
in the Caribbean, they're importing
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
or filled bottles of Coca-Cola.
This is the whole thing.
And then the trash.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the trash. What do you do with the trash?
Being Puerto Rican, I'm on the board of Parallel 18, the first startup accelerator on the island, and that is where I did a lot of my R&D for localization, proximity-based infrastructure, because it is definition of insanity to, especially for Puerto Rico, you have to ship things from all around the world, then to transfer them to a U.S. carrier ship, and then send them to the island.
Right.
Like the cost of that is just bonkers.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
The actual cost and the climate and impact cost.
And then you have these hurricanes, right? And you're just like feeding the beast. And what happens after a hurricane? Plastic bottles of water come in.
We have water, we have wind, we have sun. Why are we paying for all kinds of weird energy? Why is our grid not stable? Why do we not have our own produce and products grown? And it's insane.
Supply chains.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've started talking a bit about this. Refashion has a clear point of view on defensibility. What does a moat look like in supply chain innovation?
Brian's literally written like blog post upon blog post and white papers on this. So take it away.
So for things like this, I like to start with a definition, and this is my own. It's my own definition. So an economic moat, which I think is distinct from when other people just talk about moats, I like to refer to an economic moat. An economic moat is an inherent feature of a startup's business model, which is dynamic. And it protects it from competition today, but enhances its competitive position in the future. Mm-hmm. And so there are 5 general sources: network effects, efficient scale, brand, and intangibles, and 2 others. And so when you think about that, then when I'm looking at a startup, the question I ask myself is, okay, sure, maybe right now the strength of the moat is not evident. But as time goes on, if this startup succeeds, what will the effect of these variables in its business model be? And if I get the sense that they will strengthen and become more difficult for competitors to compete against, then to me that's unattractive. And of course it has to have the potential to get big and all those other things. But that's what I look for.
I'll add another lens to moats. When we're early stage investors, the moats that we double down on or double click on at early stage are different than later stage investors because there's less data points.
Yeah. Right.
And so for me personally, the biggest moat that I look for and has to be there is an exceptional, gritty, tenacious founder that is going to be relentless and that has something that is just innate to them, that this is the thing that made them want to crawl across glass for a living.
Yep.
And so they are going to win, even if they get across that finish line with like one limb hanging off and like bloodied, and that is their thing to own.
Can't wait till
so in my framing, that falls under management skill.
Okay.
And I put that under intangibles.
Yeah.
And so management skill is, just like Lisa said, there's something about this founder that makes us believe they'd rather die before they give up, if there's a chance that this will work. It's also how the team works together. Mm-hmm. It's also how the team learns, because that's different, right? A team can work together very, very well, but if they're not learning,
and how they take feedback.
And how they take feedback.
Filtering will I could have said microfactories and you could have gone, what do you know? And, but being able to take the right feedback and information and make it your own is critical.
Yeah.
Because everyone has an opinion.
Absolutely.
But not all opinions should be weighted equally.
Yeah.
And I'll give to build on that. A lot of investors will say, "Oh, we don't think that founder is coachable."
Oh yeah.
And I retort, "I don't want a coachable founder.
Yeah.
I actually don't want.
We want unreasonable.
I don't.
people.
I don't want a coachable founder. I want someone who has a point of view and is stubborn about it. But I also want someone who is intelligent enough that when they're wrong, and they encounter someone who can prove that they're wrong,
right,
with data that's objective and can be verified, independent of the source of the data, that they can change their minds."
Yeah.
That's and maybe it's just because the bosses I've worked for and that I feel like I've done the best work under have been people who others would describe as unreasonable.
I mean, Brian and I have been maybe a little bit. I mean, also as a woman, a woman in tech, a woman who's assertive, aggressive. Brian was witness to this, where we had a guy in our network that gave me some advice. "Lisa, you should try being less, like just don't be so taking up the oxygen in the room." And I was like, all the things you're describing is about you, not about me.
Yeah.
And do you think you're the first man in my career to tell me to be less? Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see those kinds of comments as just a real quick filter.
Yeah.
Swipe left.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
There's more people in line.
Yeah.
I appreciate the idea of being unreasonable and having a really clear point of view. Like, I spent an hour on a drive last week to Grand Rapids talking to someone who's already a big angel in Kadeya. Why can't you just have people carry around their own reusable bottles? And spent an hour breaking
it down. Yeah.
And at the end, he's like, "Well, but I still don't understand. Why do people buy single use?" I'm like, it's a $2 trillion market for cold, non-alcoholic, single-serve packaged beverages. There's also a point where, like, you can approximate a full understanding of the consumer, but you're never going to get to 100%.
100%, yeah.
And you have to look at the data and say, I might not 100% understand why, but they are doing it.
Yeah.
And let's use that data to guide us. And so I think I'm unreasonably fixated on the fact that reusables are not solving the problem, that single use is winning.
Yeah. Or recycling.
And that recycling does not exist. It's not real.
It's a fraction of a percent.
But anybody give me advice who improves Kadeya's pathway to proving that, I'll take that advice. Right? Because I'm trying to win. I'm not trying to be right. Okay, so closing up before our rapid fire, what's next for the Refashion Fund and the Worldwide Supply Chain Federation?
Global domination.
The meetup, we have to get back to doing events. The pandemic gave us some problems, and so we haven't done an event in a while. We have to get back to doing events. For the fund, we are working on raising an institutional fund, but there's some things that just take as long as they're going to take. Fortunately, our portfolio is doing well. A number of Series A rounds already closed, some that we didn't expect to be already raising, which they haven't announced yet. And so hopefully in 2026, we make some progress towards raising the institutional fund, which will be a traditional vehicle. But we also want to keep the rolling fund because for the sorts of startups we back, there is a role for individuals who care about the problem and who want to individually get involved at the very early stages, where it might be too early for a big institution to get involved.
It also has given us a literal army of
Yeah.
our LPs that also can publicly talk about their investment in Refashiond and how excited they are about the portfolio companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a who's who of global supply chain and industries and venture.
Yeah.
And so we think that's an unfair advantage. A
Advantage,
lot of funds have an expert network. Ours
Right.
are literally our
They have
LPs.
skin in the game.
Yeah. That's
They
how
have
we
skin.
reconnected.
They have skin. They have skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's how we reconnected,
Yeah.
right? One of my
Yeah.
angels is one of your LPs. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, you got to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so for the rapid fire, let's go like Brian, Lisa. We'll just go.
Okay.
Okay. What's one phrase you never want to hear in a pitch again?
Oh, we're going to disrupt. Blah 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 blah. Disruption is evident in hindsight.
Mm,
In the moment, just build your business, just solve problems for your customers. And if it's disruptive, we'll know 10 years down the line that
Yeah.
it was disruptive.
Yeah. I'm going to say anything like hype based. We're NFT, crypto. We're going to replace, this whole currency system, or no, anything hype based is like I'm allergic to.
Yep.
Crypto for cats.
Yeah, crypto
Or NFTs for
cats.
cats.
Twitter, NFT, crypto.
I've
fun for
nothing.
cats.
I've nothing against NFTs, but NFTs for cats is where I draw the line.
It's the cats.
What about the Nyan cat NFT? That's worth a lot to someone,
To someone else.
not to me.
All right. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone interested in starting making angel investments?
Start small.
Mhm.
Start smaller than you would probably think, and just get started.
I'd echo that, but I'd also say go deep on things that are of personal interest and domain expertise for you.
Yeah.
Because you can back amazing founders, but if you don't really know the space you're playing in, you're not going to get very far, which is one of the reasons why Brian and I have so many bigger funds and corporates reaching out to us for our unique domain expertise, because it's not an easy thing to dabble in. One of the things that I love about supply chains is that it literally doesn't matter if you have the best technology or the most money. If you don't have trust and relationships in supply chains, that's what the world runs on.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point.
The one thing I'd add, because you asked about angel investing, join an angel network.
Yeah.
Because
There's so many of those.
Yeah. There's so many of those now.
What is a startup you're excited about besides Kadeya?
Oh my God, can I go?
Okay. Okay, Lisa.
It's literally another microfactory called Mothership Materials.
Yeah.
It is, I think, our first inception type of company. So an inception company is one where we are working alongside the founder to refine and sometimes drastically change the business model, the MVP, the go-to-market, the opportunity. Mothership came to us, like I met her 3 years ago, and she has taken IP from therapeutics for treating sickle cell anemia in remote locations.
Wow.
Literally patents and clinical trials, proven IP using physics to do what I call a molecular coin sorter for bio-based materials.
Mm-hmm.
So it would filter out the bad things in the blood and keep the good things in the blood. And Joe, the genius founder, studied permaculture for a year to understand how Mother Nature produces zero waste, and applying that as a construct for supply chains. She chased Dr. Agnes Ostafin. It was like, can I pretty please throw some plants in that and see if it works? And it does. So using physics to sort and separate any ag or food waste into its molecular components of cellulose, glucose, pectin, lignin, oh my God, that when I met Joe, I said, no, please do not build a clean beauty ingredients mega factory.
Yeah.
Your market is too small. Your factory is too big. You need to flip it. You have the unlock for the entire bioeconomy that I have been waiting for. Every founder that's building any new bio-based material, I ask them, where are you getting your stable, always on, quality controlled, volume ingredients, inputs? I didn't even know to call them feedstocks. And they would say, well, there's tons of banana peels. There's tons of like algae. And I'm like, no. that is a huge
It's
leap.
a huge leap. Yeah.
Mothership creates that opportunity. And I said, put that stuff into microfactories on-prem where the waste is. That'll print money. She came back a year and a half later. We invested immediately. She's like, oh my God, it's 80% profit. It's literally like a SaaS model, but it's physical infrastructure.
So the caveat, when they pitched us however many initially, I asked Joe, I said, would you please send me Agnes's academic papers? And I guess Joe thought the discussion went so poorly that she never responded. So this time I said, please send me the academic research. And I read through that. I was like, okay, now I get it.
It's real.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so physics, not chemistry, heat, or, you don't have to build huge infrastructure. Her continuous flow, density gradient centrifuge literally can be put within a 5 foot by 5 foot, 7.5 tall sort of tower. And those suckers can be put into shipping containers, deployed anywhere.
So cool.
Yeah. Every startup in our portfolio, which is the only reason.
You have no favorite child.
I have no favorite. I'm going to be more diplomatic than Lisa. They're all my favorite. They're all my favorite children.
They're my siblings.
Yeah.
Kadeya's siblings.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, finish the sentence. The next $1 trillion company will be built by ...
The next
A woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you literally took the words off my...
Yeah.
Because I think, and it's a conversation we had with one of our LPs some time ago, women think more in terms of ecosystems.
Yeah.
And how things work together.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a world that's going to be more about ecosystems and platforms and networks, women have an edge.
Mm.
In a world where it's more about, I'm going to build this one centralized company and we're going to crush,
dominate.
and we're going to crush our competition, then maybe men have an edge.
Yeah.
And I think that's a massive shift between extractive, exploitative capitalism to collaborative infrastructure. And the future, I mean, like it or not, we all have to work together to continue to exist as humans on this planet.
Right.
And so that's a mandate that women just have an unfair advantage in.
Yeah. And me winning doesn't come at
the expense of, it doesn't
It's
come
a
at,
yes and.
Yeah.
Nature is abundant.
Yeah.
Everything is reciprocal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So where can people find and follow Refashioned online?
Our website.
Yeah.
Refashion.com, and Refashion is spelled without the second.
Your arm is in front of it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not ED at the end.
There's no ED at the end. And if they type my name, Aoaeh, it's either me or one of my siblings.
Yeah.
So,
but you cannot accept any more connections on LinkedIn.
Yes.
No, I can't accept any more connections on LinkedIn.
He's maxed out.
Yeah, we're so competitive. When we first met, he was like, "Oh, I've got 15,000 followers," and I only had like 5,000. And so now I'm getting up there. I think I'm at like 18,000 or something.
But people can follow me though. People can follow me on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's fine.
But don't expect a connection.
Yeah. No, I can't accept any more connections. Yeah.
I know. I was very impressed because I also am a snob about LinkedIn.
Well,
Brian beat us all.
Some years ago.
You won LinkedIn.
Some years ago, my teammates at KC would crack a joke and they'd say, Brian has never seen a LinkedIn invitation he did not like.
But
which was
now
partly,
you miss out on key connections that I get to add to my network.
Yeah, I know.
We can talk LinkedIn strategy after this.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for joining today. I know
Thanks
it's very busy for you guys. Thanks for believing in Kadeya. Thanks for bringing the concept of this industrial transformation to the world. And I'm so excited to be, one of your portfolio companies and see you guys continue to just grow bigger and bigger, more impactful.
Hopefully our obsessive enthusiasm does not frustrate you.
Love it. True partners.
Yeah.
That's a lot of VCs now have figured out that they should put we'll partner with you or we're your partners on their website. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know the
Meanwhile,
ultimate partner.
you text us, a day or two in advance, and you're like, oh, can you come in and do a podcast? We're like, we'll be there.
I know.
We'll
Thank
figure it
you.
out. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Unbottled. If this episode got you thinking about plastic, systems change, or how we build a better future, don't just be a listener, be an owner. Kadeya is raising a community round on WeFunder, and that means you can invest as little as $100 and help us bring closed-loop beverage systems to more people in more places. Because real change doesn't happen alone, and the future of hydration needs all of us. Learn more and join our investor community at wefunder.com/Kadeya. That's Kadeya. The link is also in the show notes. Let's build it together.